Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk. And guess who I have back on the show? I have Tom Althouse. And we're waiting for Chad, but we're going to go ahead and start. How are you doing, Tom?
Doing great. I mean, it really, really feels good. Everything's happening when you live with no fear and just get the things done and not look back and just get it done. What's right. It feels fantastic. There's no greater feeling.
It does. I like your new look. What are you doing? Starring on a movie? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, Aiden had said, Dad, I don't like you smooth faced. I mean, I want you to look more like a dad. So I said, all right, I'll grow some. And then I thought, he loves the Iron Man movies and things like that. And since Elon Musk has my tech, which is proven in the screenplay, it's like, yeah, okay, you got my neural link. You're claiming all this stuff. They're giving it to you. You don't have a brain cell in your head. So I've got they're calling him the Tony Stark. So I'm just going to claim my own look and back and my work back. So
Heck
that's what
yeah, that's awesome. Um, so what's going on with your phone? Is it the same thing that's going on with mine?
Oh my, we've got things like probably we'll be talking in a conversation and the other party will see 666 type across the screen, which is stupid. And then they did this other one the other day, I'm a mom, where she heard the voices talking, the guy voices, they were talking like they're at a monitor station, talking away like that. It's just so stupid. They didn't realize they flicked the wrong switch. And then they typed this thing, I guess they got mad about it because we're commenting on it. And it said 99 pause, then it types out and you hear it beeping on her phone 333. So it was 999, which is upside down for sake. Guys, they need a new clever book because they're just not that clever and it's too easy to figure out. It's not stimulating at all.
Not at all.
No.
With me, they do the 0110 00110000. They keep going and going.
As the Matrix.
I'm not kidding. Yes, the Matrix, no pun intended, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will be like texting someone and then I'll lift my thumb to think about what else I'm gonna text, and then boom, it goes into Instagram, it goes to Twitter, and then
Right.
it goes to email, and it goes to Netflix, and I'm like, what? And then it
Mm-hmm.
starts shaking, Ah, like the inside of the phone starts shaking, and I'm like, are you confused? Are you confused? But I
Yeah,
think
it
what it
really
is,
wants
it's
your
a
attention.
spider. It's a AI bot spider.
Yeah, they glued my mailbox shut when I was supposed to receive an important mailing, which was from the copyright office. They glued the mailbox shut. I didn't. Maybe they thought they would leave it outside the mailbox. I don't know. It was so stupid. And then we had oh God, there's so many things. Whenever I go to end a call, we're about to say goodbye. They cut the feed like clockwork. It's their signature thing now. And so I had to call back and say I didn't cut you off. We just wanted to say goodbye. You have to call back and say goodbye. And so now we're anticipating it, going like they're probably going to cut before we say goodbye. So it's insane. It's just the games they play. I think they're bored. They get paid for their time. The ones that are involved in this as people to sign off. Basically, we did this, and then they're given their accountability or their paycheck, or whatever. So,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a CI operative, Sue, who was very much handling me at the time. She told me that they are supposed to use up your time and get paid for using up your time. So watch for parties that'll be entering in your life that'll just take up your time.
Yes.
So yeah,
They
keep it
don't
from.
care what the heck you talk about. They'll say, "Hey, I'll take you out to dinner. I just want to talk to you." And then, why did I go to dinner? It,
Yeah.
it was just the last time that happened to me, it was someone that I had dated last year, and he said, "I want to take you out to dinner." And then I said, "I don't want anything to do with you. I'm celibate." And then he says, "I noticed that you're kind of sad." I'm like, "Well, I'm outside smoking." I said, "Just chilling, and I said, and he says, "What you need to do," he said, because I just recently got, I just know about these labels that they put on me.
Yeah, those are hard.
I have Asperger's now. High, what do they call that? High acting, high functioning. And I've had it since I was a kid and I didn't even know until I started listening to myself, um, going off on tangents. I've lost friends over that recently, but I was feeling sad that day. And then I guess he saw one of my videos, I don't know. And then he said, what you need to do is you need to get out of the box. And I'm like, I don't live in a box. There's no box where I live. I don't live in a box, you know?
Right.
And he says, you need to reject what they told you.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna reject. I said, what I do is how do you say, assimilate? No, integrate.
Right. You use whatever's given to
Alter.
you to take what you need. But I
Yeah.
do believe in when people input negative things, like I said, I put it back to the library. I don't let it into my functioning mind.
Yeah.
Like, nope, not letting that chew up processing time
Right. Right.
or quality time.
Yeah. What I do is I do return to sender with contents attached thrice, right? Or I see it in a red balloon, like just letting it go.
Boy.
Or
Yep.
you're driving and you can't be looking at the billboard, while you're driving this way. So I just say I let it go. But at the same time with this, um, it's been tough because looking back now at my whole life, wow, it's I've lost friends for that. And even today I went to the doctor because I'm gonna have the neck surgery done, and I was looking at these x-rays and I saw a man looking at me, and I'm like, is that what's inside? And I did a short little video on that, which we can get into that later if we want, but it's how they made the humans like 33% archon, they took 34% reptilian, then or 33, and then 34 of Nephilim plus gray, but not everybody has a Nephilim gene. And they talked this video that I was looking at with Sandra D, she was talking about walk-ins and stuff like that. But anyway, when I was with the doctor today, I was trying to tell him, look at that, that's a being in there. Is that me? And I knew it was. I have not slept for 2 days now, 24 I have not been able to. So when you
Really?
don't sleep, you can see more. That's why they want you to sleep here on the matrix, because they don't want you to see what's out there. So I started seeing these beings inside the MRI. I'm like, is that me? And then after I listened to this video with Sandra D, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, because she kept saying, if only people knew the truth, what we are made of. And what they made us with the whole DNA and stuff, even though we know we're stars, right?
Mhm.
But the doctor pushed the chair back and he went, you know what? He said, you're just all over the place. Let me just tell you what we're going to do. And I'm like, and I just stayed quiet.
Well, it sounded like he negated you, kind of. Yeah.
And as soon as I told him when he first walked in, I said, look at this. That's me. That's a man right there. Look at all these faces. Don't you see them? And then I have an implant. I don't know how I got an implant. 2 months ago, I started itching back here. And I looked at the other x-ray. Like, holy F, I was not wrong, because Iris Power Lady was telling me, I think you got another implant, because I have one here on my shoulder, and now I have a new one in the back. And I looked at it, and it was like silver, like a silver bullet. And I said, what about that implant? And he says, oh no. And he switched the thing to the other video, to the other screen. Oh no, that's just because we took a MRI from here to here. He used a medical term, and I'm like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
felt like,
Like railroaded, I guess.
huh?
Yeah. Railroaded, negated, not heard, and your trust was broken. So
Yeah, and he's an excellent, excellent doctor. I mean, his surgery for my lower back was just awesome. It was great. But he is an excellent surgeon. But I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should. What would you do? Because I was thinking of writing him a letter and saying, I kind of felt maybe you were having a hard day, because it's a Monday, right? And it was packed. He
I would
was
say,
2 hours late to my appointment. I was there 15 minutes early to my appointment. He was 2 hours late.
well, if he's an excellent surgeon, keep him,
I
and
am.
just don't use his shoulder for, like, don't rely on him to be the shoulder for you. Do a different outlet,
I
because
just wanted more information.
you know. So yeah, so don't. Some people you can't enlist to try to agree with you on certain things. You have to just let them use their skill sets, you know, and that's what I do. If someone's going to drive me to the airport and they're not invested in what I'm talking about, they're driving me to the airport. That's what they're going to be doing. Good
Oh,
job on the drive. Thank you so much. So I'm going to continue to employ them if they do a good job, right? So,
why
but I'm
does
not
it
going to
hurt
expect.
though? Why does it hurt? It
Well,
hurts.
because I think you had expectations, maybe needs expectations that he would take it to another level of understanding, and he's not going to go there. And so, but does he do a good job? Yes. If you said he's excellent surgeon, employ him for an excellent surgeon. You won't lose people from your life probably if you're not lumping all the expectations of all the different arenas on them. Just let them handle what they're good at and what they want to handle and they feel comfortable handling. And
Okay.
when you spot that, you can feed people what they can chew, and you don't overfeed them. You don't give them things they don't want to digest. And when you spot that, you can, like, that's what I have to be when I do all interrelational things and working with different groups and different people. I have to see what their areas are, what lines not to cross, things like that. Comedians do the same thing when they do stand up. They have to make sure they know their audience. They can't make jokes about certain topics. They're going to offend their audience, right? So they have to know their audience. So know your friends and know your people. And certain people, they don't want much on their plate. They can't handle it. Some people, they'll open the doors to everything you have on certain times. And then, you know, but yeah, when you get that, it'll make a huge difference. And I think I find myself doing that too, because I open up to everybody, you know,
Yeah.
usually. And it can be a can of worms. It can be trouble. And plus, you can have the wrong people come your way.
Yeah.
Know what you want in people, and you can form your circle with those kind of people that fit who you are, you know, when you fit in their worlds too. And so, really, it is about forming a circle of those where you feel happy, comfortable, you understand each other, and you speak and quack the same way. So it does help. It does help, you
What
know, and
is
that,
say the birds that flock together? What is it? A flock of birds.
yeah, birds that stick together or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah. And so that's very important. Now, in my case, your case too, if someone came to me and said they like me, they're usually approached right afterwards. They're approached 2 weeks later and told not associate. Sometimes groups will do it because they don't want me coupled up with a smart person. They don't want that or a good look. They don't want that because then how are they going to do the 302s? So I have that happening all the time where people are approached. And it got so bad that people were being given really nice rewards. Like certain guys, like my expert witness, was given a beautiful home, car with all the bells and whistles, everything. And he turned. He was given that to turn. Look at that, my sister and others in my family. So it conditions you not to associate with too many people on an intimate level because um, you don't. I don't want to make people rich. I want to solve the problem and make a better world for the kids, the elderly, and things like that. I'm tired of giving people meal tickets where if they associate with me, it's almost known 2 weeks later they're gonna be approached, and yeah, I'll take the rewards. I'll turn on them. So, and that game's need to
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. Like I've lost a lot of people who just recently who I thought were friends. I mean, we were talking about a couple people, that we've had on the show, and then all of a sudden it disappears.
Right. It's hard. A lot of times these things are tactical, and I've learned that. I mean, I've had directors tell me that they have been approached and they're told not to use me or else they wouldn't be given endorsements and things like this. And it's amazing to hear it. I was writing it down today. Loved ones, directors, job associations. It's incredible, incredible what has happened where they just don't want you to thrive because of what you are worth.
Mhm.
So just think if in my case, I was given the returns are estimating 1.7 billion now, as I said, that's they're naming the worth value in their terms for the work. And so if I actually had my work back, credited name credit, and also what Elon Musk has taken with the tech that's in the screenplay, then it's over. I'm in Elon Musk's position then. And that would mean they'd have to contend with what I know they did, and what I can do to change that. And they don't want that. They don't want you having that kind of influence. So yeah, but yeah, you have to just persevere and just keep rolling it. and find the joy and the happiness besides all they're doing. That can be tough, but you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things I did, I took a trip to see my mom, and there was all these threats that I'd be pulled away, put incarcerated, whatever, if I even tried to get to Pennsylvania area where the congressman, the FBI congressman Fitzpatrick, controls that arena. So, but I did, and I'm so glad I did. I saw my mom. We did this documentary shoot with her part. Wow, it went well, and it just felt like it felt so good to face the giants down and just go ahead and do it, and no fear, and it was the right sensible timing too, and it worked really, really well. So you can incorporate joy into your life that way. And one of the things I said too was, even if you don't feel there's anything to be joyful about, you can tell yourself that you're joyful. You can induce the feeling of joy, and your mind and your body will come up with a reason to justify it, and it'll lock in. What kickstarted it? It came from nothing. It came from a choice to feel joyful, and that can be done. That can be done. All these conditions that people have gone through, including my sister has, which we now understand is borderline personality disorder. That's a doozy, especially when she's this age. And she has all 9 markers, the 9 of the 9 markers, including the irrational rage and thinking people are out to get her, and being paranoid and angry at the flip of a coin over nothing, nothing. And so, in a fear of abandonment, well, she's got it all. And so they utilize that. They use her where to fill up her void, they give her rewards. And that makes it this like a heroin addict where she feels like there's a fix there. And they give her a higher reward. The latest one that was just done was they gave her they entered into congressional records that she's some kind of wonderful person and star, where Fitzpatrick gave her this, Brian Fitzpatrick, Congressman, Pennsylvania, FBI operative, gave her all the positions. Now her husband has just lost his job they'd given him. So they gave him the job when she turned, but they say they'll take away what they give you. And so they took it away and he had to sell his mansion. So it's amazing that they've crumbled because they failed in the last big 302s. So what happens is, if you attach yourself, like you do, to good people that you can trust, have some guy friends that you know you can count on. They're not going to hit on you. They're going to be somebody you can count on to be solid and never swerve, and you'll never lose their friendship. You need that circle. It's kind of a protection circle. And it's a good thing to have. Every lady should do that, I think. And yeah. But go ahead. I'm just talking. I was going to go right into the next movie coming out, but go ahead.
But what did you say? You're gonna what?
There's a series coming out that's just hilarious.
Tell me.
Into this.
Tell me.
Well, it's about how men aren't needed anymore. And it's on Prime. And it's the funniest trailer because they have like a young girl going, "Mom, there's a man in the yard." And the guy's just walking like in a suit, just lost kind of, and they start throwing rocks at him. "Get out of here, man." And so it's this whole thing where men aren't needed anymore in society. It's hilarious. It's a hilarious trailer. I don't know what the series will be like, but it's
the title of the movie.
I don't know the series. It's on Amazon. You'll find it on Amazon.
Okay.
But I just thought it was the funniest thing. Funniest thing.
Sad.
Yeah. It's funny that's because you go through all this gender mixing, things like this are trying to confuse society, trying to break families up, and now they come out with this comedy where guys are no longer needed anymore. And it is funny. It's a funny concept.
Yeah.
But really, women, I think all women, benefit when they realize a circle of guy friends you can count on that are going to be gentlemen and be there at your need is a good thing. It's a good thing if you find the gentleman guys. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I do have them.
Good. Well, that's a good circle to have.
Here.
that can help keep people sane too. It's just like,
oh yeah,
no, you can definitely do it. And
I feel safe around them.
That's important. Very important.
I feel I can count on them and not, like you said, not have to feel like you have to do something or give something.
Or is there a hidden motive, or will they always be there?
Right. I wrote down like a few little things when you were talking. So mail, when you said your mail, what's been happening? Your mailbox. Well, what's been happening with my Proton mail and my Gmail they're not going through. And I went to, there was an incident here that happened yesterday where I had to call police. And so I sent, the victim's witness number, the case number. I sent it all to the manager. I went this morning and I said, did you get all, blah, blah, blah. And I told her what had happened. She goes, I didn't get it. And I look at my Proton mail on my phone and it has like a little pencil thing
Right.
on the side. It's still sending from 8 p.m. yesterday.
Wow.
This is not the first time. When I went to Office Max to print out some things for my junk journals, I was there for half an hour waiting for them to get the thing. And then I looked down at the Proton mail, because you have to send it to their email to print and all that. And it had the little pencil thing. It was still sending. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Then I said, okay, let me try the other email because I have 2 Gmails and 1 Proton mail. Let me try the other one. I told the girl in the office. Didn't go through. So it's not the first time with Google. Um, it just seems like they do that on purpose, you know? And
Yeah,
then,
if you look at the timing of these things, like when I was trying to get on today and suddenly everything went haywire.
yeah, you were telling
It was
me.
like, yeah, it was incredible. And many, many hosts tell me that when I'm on the program, the shadow bending goes up and the interruptions are off the charts. And we have footage of a helicopter yesterday that circled and then just hovered over the top of the home, just hovered, 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 really, really loud. And then it slowly flies away. In fact, let me just show you this last bit of the footage after it just sat on top of the roof. So I want to show you this real quick.
Yeah, show me. And then I hear a lot of echo on your end, and I know it's not, that's crazy, right?
See how slow it's going? That hovered for a long time right over top of us after circling. Look how slow it's going away. And so that's what we face. And if you look at the earlier footage, it was just circling, and circling. Then it ends up on top of the roof and just sits there and sits there and sits there. And that's why that footage is so interesting, because listen to the sound. Right over top. They did that on our car with my son and I, and they were waiting on a bridge, off a bridge. It's not delusional. They do that on purpose to make you sound like you're crazy. But they actually were coming back from a soccer game, and they sat. My son said, "Look, Dad, there's a helicopter hovering over the water just on the bridge here, right where we're coming." When we went on the bridge, it nosedived up, went over top of us, and rode with us on Route 10. Then it went on my son's side, which is really a dirty move to try to frighten my son. Military helicopter, he said, fully loaded, Apache helicopter. And then on the other side, on my side, and then directly over, and then fly away. What they're trying to do is instill like rattle sabers and also make it sound like you're nuts. The thing they're trying to put me away with, they say, oh, he thinks organizations are out to get him. When your organizations are contacting me, and it's going in the documentary and you're on tape, their contacts saying they're doing this on purpose, then that's not thinking someone's out to get you. That's you having to deal with scumbags who are part of the alphabet boys. We're making it clear they're doing these things also by contacting associates, and they're sending you emails and messages saying, yeah, I was contacted by the FBI on a Saturday for 3 hours. They're watching you closely. That's not thinking it. Ernest Hemingway, like we said, went through the same thing. And he told his friends, he said, the FBI is all over me on this stuff. And they all thought he was nuts. Now they released in declassified records that showed the FBI was all over Ernest Hemingway, including Martin Luther King, what they did to his marriage, and what they did to John F. Kennedy. So now we just discovered something really cool I want to share with you. And that first graphic in the Matrix. So here's, anybody who's new, here's the screenplay, copyright can't be denied. We would never lose in court if they hadn't had their attorneys that were supplied and the judge planted with a suspended license, the attorney to throw the case. We never would have lost with the evidence.
Say, Veronica, what? Fuentes?
That's the specialist and director of the Copyright Office.
Oh,
Specialist. So that can't be denied. Now they're trying to say this is faked. Well, that's their signature. Give them a call.
yep.
So the thing is that what's interesting is, and the real date's down here. This is the 19 1998 version of the shooting, the one they shot in 1999. This is the year before they shoot it. They had it in hand. So what's interesting is that in that first graphic they make for the Matrix off this work, we're told they made it up as they went along. You have these entries such as my high school, Central West. So here's, and again, there's my high school. Can't be denied my diploma. Central West High, we call it. So Central West is Neo's school in the first graphic. Thomas A, my name, all that stuff. Now, what we didn't understand was the entry for 1962. Instead of my birthday for Neo's birthday, they put March 11th, 1962. We never understood that. What was that there for? We never understood. Now we do, thanks to Oliver Stone. We now know why that's there. The CIA conducted a letter crafted on a Sunday in March 11th, 1962, to go to the president's desk, John F. Kennedy, to suggest that the CIA do Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods, anybody can look it up, was to say that terrorist acts could be done on U.S. citizens to propagate wars, foreign wars, and make an excuse to have those wars. That's exactly what 9/11 was. And so the CIA actually laid that document on the desk of Kennedy. They crafted it on a Sunday when everybody was available, not in offices that could be tapped, that they could come together and create it, and they delivered it on a Thursday. So that March 11, 1962, with my high school, birthday, dad's name, everything else in the Matrix first graphic, that's saying something very important, that the CIA helped steal the work, and that they were putting in there what the Wachowskis had on the next page was 9/11. That's in 1999. So they're putting it there, bragging about what's going to happen when my piece is about warning the world, false flags are going to be done on U.S. citizens in order to propagate endless wars. That's in the material. And Neo works for a CIA department. So what's interesting, he's the head of a lower echelon. So what you have is everything coming together now, where now we know the missing element, where they bump my birthday from Neo's up to the top heading and put in March 11th, 1962 for Neo's birthday, which is Operation Northwoods. So now we've got everything perfectly balanced out. It's almost too much, people say, but it's perfect for a documentary to show just how far the CIA went in the
Yeah,
operation theft.
I totally get you. The date 3/11, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 3/11,
That-
1962. They delivered
That's
on this March 15th, 1962.
well, okay. So March 11, if you add those numbers, it adds up to a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So they were trying to pretty much get rid of you to
Yeah.
summon in another walk-in.
Mm-hmm. That's why Elon Musk was supposed to take my place. He was a nobody. He's a nobody. He's not even smart. And he even looks like me when the time I'm writing it. If I hold this picture up again, look at this. Tell me I don't have the Elon Musk facial structure here. I don't know if you can see it. See that like chubby cheek boyish look? That's what Elon Musk has.
Yep,
That
I see it.
chubby chick, yeah, chubby faced boyish look. So they even cast him to look like that. He has no brains. He just is in there getting all this tech, and he can't even explain Neuralink at these events. So it just drives me crazy. It's absolutely, it's supposed to drive me crazy because it's like watching him talk about it. He doesn't talk about the ramifications. He doesn't understand exactly what it means and what it was actually intended for, just like the Wachowskis don't understand the work. So Wachowskis get to steal the work. Elon Musk gets to steal the tech. But everything's copyrighted in here. So all of it's here, which means I get to claim it later. They cannot stop us. And that's what they're up in arms about. And that's why I see a lot of activity with the CIA and everything else, and those that have associated with me. But now it's the winning team. Now, since we've got this, and they said we've won the chess game, it's safer to be with me on my side than it is to be with them, because now they'll be taking care of the loose ends. And that's why Andy Zarko, Julie Zarko's husband, lost his jobs, had to sell his home. He failed at putting the author away, who's now valued at over $1.7 billion. So they failed. That's not including the tech that Elon Musk was given. So yeah, I would be, according to estimates, the richest guy in the world with everything I actually create. So yeah, so anyway, there we go. So what is the big problem? Influence. Those of us that actually have the smarts, like a Tony Stark would in fiction, are those that can influence the world and actually enact programs that can make a difference for the elderly and for the children that are missing and abducted and things. We can do it. So there's so much more layers, but let me let you have the floor.
On Journey to the Truth, and he was saying that a lot of kids were, speaking of the children, were had been pretty much rescued in the St. Louis area. But we all know that the St. Louis area has the Mach 4 magnetic trains, underground. I was also, he did a 6-hour live with on Telegram with this gentleman called Jermaine Chavez, and myself and Power Lady had time to ask him some questions, and he's a legit whistleblower for the Navy.
But yeah, so many people who have so much to offer, like yourself, you got so much going for you, usually end up being the targets. And we're profiled, and they decide because you can have influence, you can be influential. There's many hosts that I know that are friends now of mine too, like yourself, that are getting hit broadside left and right, and they're all getting hit at the same time. They're all getting hit the same ways. It's really wild. And it's usually people from the inside that pretend to be the good guys that are actually revealing their colors as they come at them. And so it allows me to be like a grand central station of information to figure out who's good, who's not. Then you have to get through the whole worming network of their protection systems, where they have fan base that will be like attack dogs for them to stand up for them. That's not what truth is about, the truth movement. It's not about building a fan base. It's about bringing the truth forward collectively and individually and having the courage to do so. It's not needing fans to fight for us with other people claiming to be truthers. So I'm very disenchanted with the whole truth movement, because I think it's been up, down, backwards, and forwards with cells, that these people just, they quack like it, but they don't act like it. And they will just create nonsense in order to keep people spinning and get their attention and use up the attention span. When those of us that actually have the definitive proof that cannot be denied are made out to be some kind of villain or something, or a faker, or they like to use the word fraud. They always like to say that, when actually we have the evidence.
Right.
So the world's going to wake up. It's going to wake up and go, wait a minute, time out. Let's make it evidence-based. Let's look at the evidence, and let's determine for ourselves and as a collective, if there's going to be a truth community, who's telling the truth. Lay your cards on the table. And I'm excited to do that. That's why I'm actually offering to get on shows where I'll face down Sophia Stewart, go side by side with her, and the Wachowskis. They're not going to show, but I'm happy to do it. There's only one time Sophia Stewart was going to be amiable, if I can use the word for her at all, to appear together, and that's when she had her own person going to monitor it. There's no way that's going to happen, because that's going to be just let her ramble on, and then this person's going to put you down, and you're not going to get anything in edgewise, and it will be a waste of time. That's like having, the president's, Biden's press secretary be the monitor for the congressional or for the presidential debates. Doesn't work.
Did you see when DT said he was going to run again?
I heard. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
So I get the cliff notes. I get the cliff notes of what's happening. I don't have time to sit through everything. So I get the cliff notes.
The thing that I most paid attention to, obviously, was stopping the child trafficking, the sex trafficking, all that, human trafficking, but getting rid of the certain gangs members.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what caught my attention too, and like, I hope so, because the borders, they're coming in left and right.
Well, what's going to solve our problems is when the FBI and the CIA are no longer funded and debunked, when they're no longer a organized body, and they no longer have their power or influence. The world's going to be a safer place right across the globe.
Mhm.
because these guys are drunk on power and they have caused, I mean, it's been shown with Operation Northwoods on, they've had so much wrongdoing, they've done so much horror. They're the ones that are the murderers and the terrorists in our world. So they need to be, and anybody who says anything about it is then targeted and put on their list where they even say, we only go after those who go after us. Well, if a citizen's saying you're doing wrong, that's not going after you. That's revealing you're doing wrong. But they put it under, oh, he's after us. Let's get rid of her or him. Let's get rid of them. Enough of this game, enough of this horror in our world, where people like my sister, who's got this mental disorder and other things on top of it, bulimic, depression, everything else, they're using her to make her feel like she's valued and matters and fill her void with all these awards that she didn't earn. They're just giving it to her so she'll be their lapdog and do hard things, which means she'll crash later when they're done using her. So the thing is, like, this all has to cease. It all has to stop. People need to be free to live their lives without these alphabet boys. The game's over. It needs to stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they offer, you know, the young women with whether they be sex trafficked or not, or even now, with commercials and, oh, I'm going to have my fans only page and men are going to pay this and that. And it's just pretty much they're selling their soul, their body.
I watched my sister change where she said that the biggest concern wasn't her children, it was spray on tans and bonded teeth and making sure her picture looks good in photo ops, and ignoring everyone around her, just talking about herself constantly and then raging all the time. So she even said that she's about power and success now, not about peacemaking. What happened to her?
Wow.
So that's what happens when you get with the cabal.
Children.
You become arrogant, you boast, and you become horrible, and you do terrible things, and you brag about it. And heaven help anybody who crosses her, she'll blow. She'll blow on them like she did my mom recently. My mom's dying of cancer, is elderly, and there's my sister holding up a video clip from me that she was given by, I'm sure, the Fitzpatrick's group, saying, where I was saying, I can't wait till the horror is stopped. And she's going, look, he's going to kill me. He's going to shoot me. He's going to kill me. Doing that to my mom, saying she cut my son and I off. And my mom's like, he's not saying anything about you. He's not going to. And the police even said, I talked to the police. They said, no, she's projecting on you. And they advised me I should put out a mental health evaluation warrant on her. But with the credentials Fitzpatrick gave her, she just waives those all the time. And then no one addresses what's so evident that she has personality disorder, that, if I would call it, but that she has that so strong.
Right.
Yeah, that three word thing.
Right.
But she got it so strong, it's so clear that anybody would spot it. But because of her credentials that the congressman gave her, the FBI congressman, no one touches her. That's got to stop. And so you see a lot of people working for the FBI and CIA that recruited that are just wackos. But they use those people. That's why they gave the work to the Wachowskis. Failed at everything they did. Failed at everything they did. Elon Musk, if everybody looks into what his background is, he never achieved anything, really. But they call him this. Now they made a documentary about him being some sweet, charming, amazing, brilliant guy because he watched read sci-fi books. That doesn't make you a brilliant guy. So the Wachowskis. But that's what they're doing now. They're picking these people. Yeah.
He bought the company from this older guys, from two guys. He bought the company. It wasn't Elon coming up with all this stuff. He bought.
No, not at all. No,
He
no,
bought it.
no. He doesn't have a brain cell in his head, as far as I'm concerned. But he's given the work, and then the Hollywood grooms him to look like you're supposed to love him because he looks boyish. But there's some angry eyes behind that man. There's some angry spirit behind that man, and he will do anything to anybody for success, like my sister's become. It's the same animal, same type of person. And
his wife is going to be used for the alien agenda because about a year ago they were saying that she had these tattoos that supposedly were made by aliens, and it does happen because when we're in the astral, we come back with cuts, bruises, whatever. But that, when I read that, I was like, nah, man, it just did not ring true in my heart. I'm like, no, they're going to use her for the alien agenda.
what's interesting too is, to go along with this, what you're saying, Elon Musk is never shown, unless I'm mistaken, slipping up. The media is very careful. The cabal's media is very careful to groom him really to the T. They don't want him revealed slipping up. So notice every picture they show of him makes him look like
An angel.
an angel.
L on.
That
Guess
is
what?
done on purpose. See?
That's what he said.
Yeah. Other people, they'll show them like looking like they're eating a sandwich or like they're messed up or they're like frazzled. You
This
know, they
is
don't show. They don't show. So it's very careful grooming, very careful public image feeding. And people are being programmed to think Elon Musk is going to be their savior.
yes, that brings me to what I wanted to say when he said, turn the other cheek. I'm like, really? Really? You're over here in public saying on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you're gonna have to turn the other cheek. And I'm like,
Yeah. Maybe he
you're
means
moving
what?
into the mentality of that. I'm like, what?
I think he means mooning people because I don't think he means anything that's kind. I would not want to meet that man in private and see what he really is like because I can see it. I can see it.
See right
The other
through.
day I actually did. I covered the picture where his mouth was and just looked at his eyes. And sometimes you can see a lot when you just look at the eyes.
Oh yeah.
When I did that, I was just like, oh my God, look what's there. Look what's there.
Yeah.
It's worth doing because you can't really fake that in a photo op.
No.
You can't fake it. You
Yeah.
can do it to my sister too and see what's really there. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. I remember you calling. We talked about what, a month and a half ago or two. We were talking about they were trying to attempt another 302. Your
Yeah, they
sister
did. They tried another one. She tried another one.
got
That
two.
was off that video clip they picked. So they went through all the like hundreds of interviews that are done, and they picked this clip for her to hold up. She wouldn't be able to do it. She wouldn't be able to get that clip on her own. It was done for her. And so she goes running to my mom with a fake excuse to see her, to harass her, and just screams and yells at her and holds this thing up constantly, playing it over and over. It doesn't say anything except me cut out of an interview, long interview. Out of all those interviews, they find the one piece they think they can use to say, "Oh, look, he's going to kill somebody." Where I'm saying, "I'm looking forward to I can't wait till the horror ends." That's not saying you're going to kill somebody. But she's like, she turned it into screaming, "That's him. He's waving a gun around. He's going to shoot me." That what? What? Does she watch TV and something shows up on the TV and goes, "Oh, they're going to kill me. I can see it in Game of Thrones, they're going to kill me." And it's like, then she's screaming at my mom, "If you don't agree with me that Tom's evil and is going to shoot me and waving a gun around, then you don't love me." That's that abandonment that comes with that disorder, that dissociative disorder,
Oh,
right? So, and that's never going to get better until she's trained how to handle her emotions. But as long as she hides under the shield of the psych field and has Fitzpatrick rewarding her, that congressman, with all these rewards, which was just incredible stuff now, where the Congress they just keep going up. It's entered in group.
and not only that, psych meds.
And she's on medication too.
I
So the
bet.
thing is like, yeah. And so you got this person who's obsessed, narcissist, who's like bipolar symptoms all over the place, who wanted to put that on me. So she keeps projecting it on me. But I'm not the one that's emotions all over the place. I don't think in interviews you've seen me fly off
No.
and rage at someone and lose touch where I look like a different person. You know, I'll get passionate about stuff, but I'm not going to be what happens with her, where she just starts screaming and yelling. And we have tapes of it. When you hear these tapes, these are chilling, where she's going like, "If Tom's not evil, that means I'm evil." It's like, whoa, okay, you're dealing with children at this Rolling Meadows elementary school. You're
Have
the
you put
counselor.
them up yet on YouTube or anything?
I haven't put them up yet, but we are. I'm giving it to the documentary team.
Okay.
So I think it's very important to reveal. The only way she's going to get the help she needs is that this comes out and this game with Fitzpatrick handling her ceases.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then because then she won't fill her void of fear of abandonment through success, but actually she'll get the help she needs.
Right.
So, instead, while she's trying to kill me, have me hauled off and put away for life, I'm trying to see if she can get the help she needs.
I think that's a good idea that you will put that out there, because we're not afraid. You're not afraid. Uh, you're tired of this BS, and I feel like you putting it out there, you're kind of like more protecting yourself and saying,
Do a lot.
this is the truth here.
It'll do a lot. In fact, I think it's good you said that,
Mhm.
because that tape on the day that my son was murdered, Sean was killed, right? When Sean was killed, we established that. Now the other side's trying to say, he's making it up, he's lying. It's like, I'm lying about my son killed? No, I wouldn't lie about my son killed. He's gone, he's dead. And that's him right here. That's both Sean and Kirk were killed. Right? Both Sean and Kirk.
I'm so sorry.
And this is how I remember them.
They're so little.
And my dad was killed by my sister, starved to death.
What? Are you
Yeah,
serious? You
in
haven't
her
told me that
condition,
part. What happened?
in her condition recently, she was his POA. And my dad wanted my mom to be his POA, but she had tricked him a while back to be the POA, where she made it stick in an old time document. And so what happened was, he was calling to go home. He wanted to go home. He wanted me to come up, and she came in, get Tom off the phone, ow, screaming, her usual raging. She gets away with it because of Fitzpatrick. And then my dad was saying, Julie, why are you doing this to me? Let me go home, in front of my mom. And Julie started raging and screaming manically. She went into that bipolar thing, just screaming and raging manically. And she ran down the hall screaming, get him on meds. So what she did was, she had him given anti-anxiety. She should have been her given an anxiety medicine, not dad, whatever else she's on. And also anti-seizure. So the next time I talked to dad the next day, he was like this, where before he was like, Tom, I'm proud of you. And I was taping it because it was a special moment between my dad and I, where I was making promises that I was going to like make a sculpture for him and honor him and my mom. And he liked that. And he said, finish the job, Tom, finish the job. But keep in mind, my brother, who's with my sister, they're like weird relation with each other, like two liking each other, really weird kind of thing. It's really weird, weird, like House of Usher. But anyway, so what happens is, it's very weird. But anyway, so yeah, incest, anyone? But the thing is that what happened was, oh my God, they're weird. But anyway, so what happened was, he went and said that my dad was screaming for me to go away. What? It's Jack, it's on tape, you know? And so then what happens is, my sister, like my dad, next day after saying, I'm proud of you, Tom, finish the job, totally lucid, wants to go home. This is what I hear the next day. Tom, I love you. He was totally drugged. So it took 40 days for Julie to starve him to death. Now, why did Julie do that? And why is she calling his fake 302s on me? Because she feels that her dad abandoned her when he was not rejecting me and was saying, why are you doing this to me, Julie? She felt, and freaked out again, overreaction, hyperactivity, freaked out that her dad was abandoning her by siding with family, basically. And so she starved him to death. She killed him.
That
was
sounds
that
like a movie that I've seen where it's the opposite. It's like the mother, instead of the father, it's the mother that the daughter does this to. And it also reminds me of that movie called We Care,
Mhm.
where they take the elderly's supposedly they make them sign everything over.
That's right. That's right. That's what she was
Like
trying to do. She was trying to get all the inheritance, all the money, and screaming about that too. And then she was bragging about taking these expensive trips with her daughter, saying like, you can take these expensive trips too, while she's sitting in front of my dad dying. So she became this monster that murdered my dad. And then she walks out of his funeral saying she was going to do it ahead of time. As soon as my mom had a singer go up, Sally, wonderful person, sings a song that my mom wanted my dad to sing or have sung at his funeral. My sister walks out of the funeral. Walks out. Who does that? Somebody with that disorder does. It's like, if you cross Julie, heaven help you. She's going to come at you, hell and high water. She's going to fly at you. Heaven help anybody that crosses Julie Azarco. And so that's what happened. My dad died. So all three of those people in that picture, very special to me, have been killed. But she called me when Sean died after 2 years of cutting me off. The playbook says cut off the person, the party, the target. So you're supposed to cut them off to make them feel sad and despair. So she calls 2 years later, right when Sean died. And I thought it was for condolences. I may have shared this before. But when that's when she had called and said, Tom, you have to say you're bipolar, suicidal, and angry. What? Say it back to me. That was so she could say it in the media. See, that's her playbook. Oh, he was suicidal. You always hear it all the time. They killed themselves. No, they didn't. No, they did. These people haven't killed themselves. A lot of these people, like George Michael, did not kill himself, right? And so she could get more airtime, and it feeds that void of needing to be important. So what's happening is we have a little respite right now because she's feeling so excited about her rewards that fills that void for a little bit, but then she'll need another fix and she'll come at us again.
Did she get offered being a clone?
I don't know about that. I know that she's offered many, many rewards, and I don't think
Like a
I'm
new body?
I don't know. But I'm sure that she's looking at longevity because that's in the mix now. Thanks to Stanford and IBM,
Yep.
there's the longevity program, which is the whole premise and theme in this script. That's what it's about. The New World Order comes about by bits. So no wonder they're interested in this stuff. And like I said, Neo, the original Neo, is a lower echelon CIA department head, revealing how the CIA is bad. Hello. Why would they take this work? Why would they put the high school and everything in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you
And
watch?
why?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
It reminds me of a documentary. I think it's called Secret or something about the CIA. They're giving out all their secrets, and I'm like, it's about time. I mean, I knew about
Yes.
secrets when I was in freaking elementary, you know, with the shoe, and then you put the little equipment. We'll say it, not to say the B word, you know,
You know,
under.
you're right. Brian Fitzpatrick, the lifelong FBI operative from California, who's now the congressman, who has my sister and gives her all these rewards. He stated that intellectual property, stealing intellectual property or taking intellectual property is a way to just get rid of targets. So what do they want? Now, look at Operation Northwoods. Like I said, look at Operation Northwoods. People in the world, ask yourselves, is the CIA doing wrong? Well, they had, what was the plan? Let it sink in. Terrorist acts on U.S. citizens to propagate wars against regimes they want to take on, that they want to have a reason to have this war with them. Hello.
Citizens are the terrorists. We, the citizens, are the terrorists. And then they have
admitted it. It's in the document. It can't be refuted.
Right.
And why is there? Yeah. Oh.
Sorry, I get all excited. With this CV 1984, you know, you got to watch the Wonder Woman 1984 and Back to the Future 1984, the whole CV thing, Baby Jabberwocky, all that crap. They have done more of Project Artichoke, meaning because it goes along kind of with what you're saying, why they want to isolate people.
Right.
They don't want nobody touching. Why? Or showing their fangs. Just kidding. They don't
they call it protecting themselves. That's not protecting yourself. That's terrorizing a world.
Yes.
So they're paranoid about anybody having influence, or maybe to have a life that is apart from their control. They lose it. They lose it. This has got to stop.
2030 is coming up, Tom. 2030, Agenda 2030. We have to stop that agenda. We need we need at least 30%, at least 30% of the population of the whole world to wake the F up so we can change these, so we can stop these walk-ins from coming in.
That's right. Well, here's a tactic I want people to grasp. If you're ever targeted and you're worth a lot, your business, let's say your business taken away, your intellectual property taken away, they'll tell you you're worth so much. Like I said, 1.7 billion is what they tell me now and growing. So I'm going to, even if they take everything away and they give it to Elon Musk, I'm still going to dress like I am if I was successful. I'm still going to speak like I would as success. I'm still going to be who I am. I'm not going to let them crumble me, change me, and turn me into a hobo. I'm going to still have the presence that when I get my rights back in a legitimate situation and venue with due process guaranteed finally, I can walk right into my office and make a difference in this world, and I'm already ready. I'm not going to let them change me. So what I'm saying to people is carry yourself as you are, not what the CIA did to you. Don't let them diminish you. Don't let them. They said that I dared to face them down is what my crime is. Well, I'm facing them down, and I'm going to do it well-dressed.
We're doing it with you, Tom. Yes, we are.
Not going to change. Not going to change. And the Tom Troxel thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that in the beginning.
That's my mom's maiden's name. Oh. That is an incredible line. I don't want to be part of the Althouse line. All the Althouses and Swiggerts and Hillsies sold out. sold out.
Did
So
you?
I am going to go with the Troxel line, which was dying out. But Richard Troxel's a singer at the Met. He's a relative directly of mine, and danced with my mom. And she was talking about how she danced with her. But all of them were like doctors and artists and musicians. I'm revitalizing the Troxel line, so it'll be Tom Troxel, Aidan Troxel. That's the one that was Swiss royalty. That's the one that came over and was knighted as Framptons at the Battle of Hastings. I'm going to embrace the Troxel line now and shed this Althouse line. I don't want to be part of it.
That's a good idea. I even thought about that. I don't know if you told me because we have not
Yeah,
talked.
I don't want to be associated with those family members. I'm not going to be associated with them.
And I thought,
Pedophiles and
change
cheats.
the name.
Yeah, it's like pedophiles and cheats and
Yeah.
losers. I don't want to be part of it. So they can damage that name all they want, but I'm going to take the name that revitalizes my mom's line. So it'll be Troxel. Yeah, Troxel.
Well,
Treacle. Treacle was the one.
Maybe they'll have a Swiss line. Maybe they'll have.
Yeah, well, I'm embracing my Swissness. My Swissness is back in. It was funny because I heard Aidan
Not your
talking about
Swiftness.
yeah. Aidan was telling some of his friends, he's got a great circle of friends, even though all his cousins have cut him off because they were told by Julia Zarco with her credential waving power. So sad. But he told his friends, yeah, I'm Swiss German. I'm like, yes, you are. Nothing wrong with that. So it wasn't the Zionists that created the Matrix or these guys from Poland, Wachowskis. It was a Swiss German. Get over it. Yeah.
And there's some Swiss German Jews too.
Yes, there is. In fact, that's in my bloodline also. Is the line of David and
Mine too. Remember
there you go. So yeah, so that's why it's really interesting. Yeah.
The M.
Yeah. So I've got some Jewish blood in there somewhere, which I'm very proud of.
Jewish blood.
Yeah, very proud of it. Very proud of it. Very proud of that.
Heck yeah.
You know, like I love the underdogs, and it's like a lot what happened in World War II. So that they stood, all these European Jewish people had to survive all that. Is that the man coming on?
That is the man.
All right.
Like 3 hours later, but we're not just kidding.
All right. That's all right.
You made
it's
it.
Good to see you, Chad.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Your turn, Chad.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you
Your turn
too.
to talk.
Me? Oh, okay. I just got done with a session, literally, that was like 4 hours long.
Wow.
we ended it, and then I started this, so here I am.
That's awesome. Proud of
It
you.
was good timing, yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking for about an hour, so now it's your turn to ask questions because I did tell Tom Droxel that you were going.
Oh, it's not that yet, but that's nice. Yeah. It sounds good.
That you're going to ask him questions. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So you guys have been talking for an hour now?
Yes, we've been going over a lot of things that were very interesting, including.
But you haven't started recording then, right?
Yeah, she started recording.
We're recording.
You said 3.
It's 4 p.m. here in Tucson.
3 Central. 3 Central.
Oh, I get it. There's a time change that happened. Okay, well,
yeah. No worries.
Don't worry.
I love seeing this image of you. This is really cool. The Chad, the chilled out Chad. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna fix that hair thing going on.
I do that a lot.
Okay, so questions. What have you guys been talking about?
Oh,
the Alphabet Boys, mainly with the Alphabet Boys, the tactics them employed, and the tactics they use, such as trying to put you away, saying you think organizations are out to get you when they're the ones telling you they're going to have this agenda and see it through. So it's like it's revealing it and how they're actually crumbling now.
Yeah.
We also discovered, Chad, Operation Northwoods, that first graphic in the Matrix that had the high school and everything, right? High school birthday, all that stuff. The first one they put, the first scene.
1969, you were saying, yeah.
1962, March 11th. We never understood that. We never understood it. Now we understand what it is, and it was chilling. It was Oliver Stone who revealed it. So what happens is on a Sunday in March 11th, 1962, that's why they put March 11th, not March 15th. On a Sunday in March 11, 1962, through contacts, they got together because then they're not calling from offices or things like that. They can gather and craft this instrument, the CIA. What's the instrument? Operation Northwoods proposal. to go on Kennedy's desk. So what happens is, what's Operation Northwoods? Look it up. Operation Northwoods is false flags, terrorist acts against US citizens to justify wars. What was on the next page of that graphic, first graphic in the Matrix? 9/11. So the Wachowskis in their simple minds put 9/11. CIA wants to up it. They put March 11, 1962. Nobody's going to figure that out.
And
Well, now
9/11
we know.
actually equals 5 as well. And we talked about this earlier, how
Okay, I get it.
311 equals 5, and that's the summoning of the walk-ins, because the artificial intelligence God, wannabe God, the one eyeball squid guy that I talk about, the one that's in the pyramid, okay, the one that these entities worship, they need walk-ins to keep going. They can only live them to like 800 years. So imagine how many walk-ins, how many sacrifices, blood sacrifices they need.
Well, everything's gonna
Usually
change now, too.
they end with the number 5, which is change for them. 9/11, 2030 is coming up. 2030, that's it, they're done. So things have better changed by then. We need at least
Well, everything is going to change. It's all going to change. They're the ones saying they've lost the chess game. Like I said, they said that that's the CIA, that's FBI. So what's going on is their latest tactics were like sledgehammer tactics. It's not going to work. I was showing her the helicopter footage where they just circled, and then they just hovered over top, and slowly pulled away. In fact, I'll quickly just show you. It's not long, but what you see is right here. Listen to how loud it is too. Right here. So first you'll see them circling. Where'd my noise go? What's going on here? Okay, here. So first they just circled. They were circling the house. And then I couldn't get the footage because they were just over top, and they just sat there over top. And I got rid of that footage because there was nothing to see, just you heard roaring. And then they did this. Actually, this is after hovering for about 5 minutes over top of my roof. There it goes very slowly. Very slowly. That's not normal. Very slowly. And so what you have is, this keeps happening, where they'll do this, where you'll have the just sit on top of your roof. And when my son was coming back from his soccer game with me, we were driving on I-10, and we came where he went, Dad, look, there was a helicopter hovering over the water on a very low bridge beside the bridge. When we came by, it nosedived up, went right over top of the car, and rode with us down I-10. Then it went over the side and rode along the passenger window where Aiden was. Then it went over top on my side, back up, and then out ahead. And our video function didn't work on the phone. It was cut off, disrupted. So what you had was not until they left. So what they're doing is trying to instill justification through these actions to say, what's the reasoning they're saying they're going to put you away? You think you wrote the Matrix, and you think organizations are out to get you. So they're trying to create where you'll report something, blatantly do it, where they can say, look, see, he thinks organizations are out to get him. The game's over. It's stupid. You can't get away. When you deal with high intellects, we find a way collectively to solve the problem. We're going to find solutions, and we'll turn the tables. You think we dare to face them down? They say, well, wait till you see Elon Musk, what we're capable of. The ones that actually have brains. So yeah, we'll turn the tables. We'll solve this. This 2030 thing, we're going to have things fixed, because right now you'll watch them turn on themselves. How do I know? Because here's Chad, my brother-in-law. Well, he's not a brother-in-law. He's horrible to me and Aiden. But my brother-in-law, in 2016, when my sister was given a position by Brian Fitzpatrick, the FBI operative and congressman, that's when my brother-in-law suddenly he was unemployed, got the great jobs working with Fitzpatrick. Great jobs in the bank. Now, since the 302 attempts failed, job taken back. They say in the movies all the time, we made you, we can break you. So he lost his job, had to sell the mansion. That was right after he was bragging about going to have the most expensive range and remodeled kitchen. Now you're selling the house. You failed. There's a price to pay. If you don't pay up and don't do what the cabal wants, it's taken away. So that's a sign they're crumbling when they turn on their own. Yeah.
All right. And you just had a very intense week as well. Did you get through it, or is that week still coming up as far as your interviewing and your traveling around?
Did the travel. We saw the one guy who's it's a collective group that works with Fitzpatrick's group, saw us come in and he went diving into his house. They didn't know what to do about it. Successful trip. 5-hour tech day up there. We did a 5-hour shoot. She got her piece on record. So everything's done with documentary. We were amazed at the timing. It was actually the anniversary of the director meeting me. So everything was lining up amazing. And so all these synchronicities are starting to happen. So thank you for asking. Very successful. Got to take my mom and I got to go to dinner and everything else. It was amazing to see her when they were threatening that if I showed up, I'd be hauled off and put away for good. So got to spend time with my mom who's dying of cancer. We found something interesting, speaking of synchronicities too, I want to share. I used to play the Richmond in Richard III. I love that role, Richmond, the boy king. And we just learned in a documentary piece that the York and Lancaster houses, White and Red Roses, were united, of course. And the wife of Henry the Seventh was, I think it was seventh, was Elizabeth. This Elizabeth, and her birthday is July 2nd, my birthday. Her day she died is Aiden's birthday, September 14th. The question is, does the divine have clues to us that the story's already written, that we know the ending, they know what's going to happen, we're living out our parts, we're like Shakespeare playing our parts upon the stage? And that's a question I have for the public as far as the Matrix story. Are we already in a story that the ending is already preordained and that we are playing our parts upon the stage, that the ending is known, that it will be this way and there's nothing that can be done to alter it? And so when these synchronicities show up, like, I'll give you this one, Chad. Kurt Behringer is a Smith agent in the Immortals. So the Matrix Smith agent is Kurt Behringer. Kurt Bessinger was the attorney they were throwing at us to throw our case. So what's interesting is, unless he changed his name, these things keep happening. You know, and you look at the names of the attorneys. Burroughs, the rabbit hole, Burrow. Rios, up the river. Huff, like Huff, blow your house down. Rankin, a stench, rank. He even used those words. He's not very bright. So the thing is, on me, like, rank, I don't want to think of rank. Your name's Rankin, dude. So it's really interesting that all these names even line up. So I'm just throwing it out there as the writer of the piece that there could be a divine code in everything that's happening, where we discover it incrementally along the way to encourage us to finish the job. But the story is set before us. We're treading the path of the pages. I think it's kind of cool. Just throwing it out.
Yes.
It's like,
Jeez. And you know, my main interest is trying to figure out the playing field, so it all kind of ties into that too. I mean, and it seems like, to what you're saying too, there's layers to it. It seems like there's controllers, and then there's controllers past that, and then there's that past that. You know, but I think divinely what you're speaking about, I do feel like it is. I hope, I do have faith, and I hang on to that there is, or faith.
I think there
Something
is. I'm with you
there is.
because look at what I'm accused of now. They've run out of things. We're off their playbook. They're accusing me now of being alive. Now, let me explain that. They're saying, how come you're still alive? That's an accusation that's supposed to make me a fraud. Wait, I'm still alive because I was following what I was feel divinely given and presented the evidence and did the right tactics that I felt were given to me to do, such as saying I won't release these other films and you'll never find them if anything happens to my last surviving son. So I interplay with their dialogues with me, which is also on tape. So they say I've won their chess game, right? We said that. So why am I still alive? Why would that be an accusation? I'm a fraud because I'm still alive? Maybe I'm smart enough to survive their game, and they're saying you've won the chess game. It's on tape. It'll go in the documentary. So let's have hope for everybody that we can survive this, and there is a better world coming, and it's going to be amazing. And we used our smarts, and maybe we've just divinely guided too. I'd like to believe so. I think that's true. Because where did the work come from? Where did it come from?
Because where did what?
The work come from? Where did this come from? It just flowed. It just flowed. The Wachowskis didn't write it. They have
No, no, they can't. Oh my God, no, I understand.
And Elon Musk doesn't know about tech. Where'd all the new tech come from? You look at our history for thousands, for a millennium, for all this time, not much advancements have occurred. Now, in this short time in our two last centuries, the century here and the century before, there's been many advancements. But still, where was Neuralink, iPad, Siri, all that? It's all right here in the rendering within what, a year or so? It all just gets in there by one author? I have to say that came from somewhere else that was channeled through. It is my idea because it was given through me. But the thing is, all this advancement, because I said I would be faithful and render it without diminishing or embellishing. So I'd like to think that we were given gifts, these gifts that are in these pages here. Can't be denied. Sorry, Elon Musk. I'm going to hold this up for Elon because they follow our stuff. So it can't be denied. This predates Matrix, and it predates your claim of Neuralink, which is actually called an enhancer. So the real name is enhancer. And when we get our rights back and take our work back, I'm changing it to enhancer from Neuralink. It's ours, right? And you look at Elon Musk. Let's just follow this trail real quick. Elon Musk is going to take us to Mars, they said. Oh, he's our savior. He's our boyish savior. Well, his plan is to take us to Mars, where the rich and the elite and the nations can claim their territories. And the elite will be able to get special places there. So really, he's claiming it for the cabal and the elite. He's not doing it for the rest of the people. Sorry, everyone else, you're out of luck on Elon Musk's plan, just like what he did with Twitter. So what's going to go on is he claims, like with Twitter, I'm doing Twitter not as a business thing, but because I love humanity. Then why did all these people lose their jobs? And why are you going to start making people pay for it to get special service? And why are people quitting en masse when you're saying they have to double down on duty? Why don't you just leave it alone if you care about humanity? If you love humanity, leave Twitter alone and let those people keep working. They were happy before you disrupted everything. So you don't love humanity. You love yourself. And you love those that are handling you because they give you your rewards and stolen tech. That's Elon Musk. Anyway, back to you guys.
Yeah, you hand over so much that I'd love to unravel on so many levels, and even like on just even like, I don't know, it's just so hard. I don't know how deep to go with it sometimes, even like where creativity comes from. These are things that
Go for it.
But you notice I don't bug you, right? Like I'm really good at giving people their space to almost a default.
You're one of the best
I'm
listeners.
very respectful of your space, but
you're one of the best listeners. You two are the best listeners. Yeah.
But I question sometimes like where it does come from. Okay, you know, some of the things that come to me, I like I've said, I feel like will be Elvis helping me, like with a part of it or something, because I get the sense of it, but I'm not fully convinced he's dead. You know, so I sometimes wonder, like, where the heck does that thing that comes to me, is it a higher self? Because I often feel like there's a higher self or something, and so there is that layer of control that goes on out, but they don't have that creativity. That's one thing I absolutely have understood now, you know, and that thing that comes through. I do get nervous sometimes if there isn't a bigger divine plan. I did have like when I was younger, I think whatever we tune into a little bit, or whatever takes our interest, maybe you know, some people call it obsessed, but you know, we become good at. And so I was considered at one time a prodigy for dance, and I started at a late age, and it got introduced, you know, after turmoil and all that kind of stuff. But each time I got put into it, you know, I would excel. Then I'd get pulled out for a couple of years, you know, life got tough, and then I'd go back into it. But for some reason, because life was so hard, I got better. Even though I didn't dance for 2 years, I got better at it. But then I finally reached the age of 30, and I was like, okay, you know, I can't go back into the splits after a month. You know, now it's taken me 3 months. Now it's like I don't even think I can get back. So I finally gave it up. So it did feel like something that was part of me got pulled from me, that was kind of like It felt like it was part of my future, and that was a death. So I'm kind of scared again because, well, I have quite a few songs and music, you know, already created, but I haven't actually sat down to do the writing. And the reason it makes me a little bit nervous is because of the playing field. You went to film school,
Mhm.
you've written it, and it was taken from you. So where we sit, you know, it's kind of like you got the ball, and we're supporting you. So I need to figure out like how to best support you. You know, a lot of that's getting the word out, but as far as like my role in writing, it's kind of like I'm my own little ship. I don't have any connections to anything out there, so I do get a little nervous, like, is it going to happen or not? I do get that sense like this is all for a reason. It all came for a reason, and it's just not going to get taken away. There will be an outlet for it eventually.
Timing is very important, and protect your child. That's the image I get, is protecting your child, the work.
Okay.
So what happens is they can't take this away ultimately. They took it away, they profited off it many, many years, but they can't take this away. Now they're trying to say it's fraud or it's forged. But the thing is, it's not. The signature's there, it's proved. So I have the evidence, it will never change. I'm going to keep protecting the baby, right? The child. And so what happens is eventually it'll all work, which will make it easier for others, artists, to be protected, because I will continue with my heart to protect them also. So we have the winning ticket. Time is on our side. We will prevail. There's no way around it because we protect the baby, the evidence, the child. And
Yeah.
as far as the music, the way I found to do it was sing it, hum it into a recorder as it flows, then hatch it out off of that onto the paper or the computer, right? The creative process, it's like, so when the germ first comes, you got the melody line into recorder, have recorder ready, always the recorder ready. Don't try to notate it out, sing it, and you'll feel the passion. You'll find yourself actually putting in the pauses and the accents, and as you're putting it in fresh as it comes, it has to be done fresh. And so have that recorder always ready, especially with music. And then that becomes your baseline for working off of it. And that relaxes your mind, your creative side of your mind, to say something's permanent, something's accomplished. Now I can enjoy frosting, the frosting part, putting the frosting on. So that's what I found is the hardest part is retaining the battle to retain what came and rendering it when it's fresh, so you don't lose the baby. And so with a recorder, it works so well. And you'll usually treasure that first entry. Because
Yeah.
even if it has some hiccups and guffaws in it, it's that
And
first
I do
line
record.
fresh.
I will record because I'm afraid I'm gonna, because it'll sometimes leave as fast as it comes in.
Absolutely. The
You
flow
know,
can
it's,
be
whoa, where
difficult.
did it go? I've learned to ask for it back, you know, and not to get scared that it won't come back. I've learned to ask like, okay, I need that back, and
That's
it'll
part of that process.
eventually click. But
You're right. So you know that process. So we'll offer that to others out there. And there's also that battle of, like you said, when you heard Elvis or things like, the coming in voice of the idea. There's a discipline that I wish I could teach everyone. And when we're done all this and we reclaim our work like this, they hate when I hold it up, so I do it all the time. Ta-da, CIA, FBI, there you go. There you go, Wachowski's, Elon Musk. It's right there. They don't like that. Anyway, so I imagine they don't. So what happens is, it's funny because I insert things as I talk because I don't want to leave anything out and mislead my publics or people.
I do too, so don't worry.
I feel like I'm doing it. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing a disservice, right? Right. So I'm like, okay, I better plug this in. Yeah, anyway. But the Wachowskis actually do rage. They can't stand me. I know that, but whatever. Probably Elon too. But the thing I was gonna say, yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's like I had to learn to discipline the flow, not to panic in the flow, not to crowd the flow, just to let that process happen, relax into the flow. It's like surfing a wave. Relax into that flow. And then it's almost like a shy horse, stallion. It's like it doesn't trot away, it doesn't run away. You have to keep it feeling safe. You have to feel safe in the flow. You have to feel that you're not going to lose it. But there's this interplay that usually goes on in the beginning where you feel like what you described, Chad, you know, where it's I could lose this. Can I get it back? And there's this peaceful, almost Zen-like thing where we try to keep it, invite it back.
That's a
But
good,
yeah, go ahead.
that's a good thing to do, Tom, because when I play, um, I'll usually we'll say I haven't played the violin for 4 months, and then I pick it up, and then I get so excited, and then I record live on Facebook or live on, YouTube. It's like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I did it. Instead of, like you said, what if this or what if that? And then what you can do is I took transposition. How do you say? I I know how to transpose music. So I have a thought. I'm sure you guys have thought about it too, because you're musicians. But you have that, right? And then so say you record live or whatever on your thing, and then you can chop up like 2 segments maybe and transpose that to another, um we'll say a higher key, or make this section a B flat, scale. The bass is the scale. You can do so much if you know all your scales. I think I'm preaching to the choir, but do you get what I'm saying? Like, you can create different stories from just one. It's
Right.
my mind thinks in multiverse 3D. Sometimes when I'm at the gym, for example, I don't know if it happens to you guys, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna pick and choose a song, right? And when I look at it, I already played it frontwards and backward. I'm like, oh man, I already heard it and played it in my head. So I'm like, okay, well, let's listen to another song. So it's kind of hard to pick a song because it's always playing in my head. And I don't get ever bored alone anymore, because it's like I can play a concerto backward, forward, a movie. Can you guys do that too? Like rewind and forward?
No,
Color?
no,
It's a game in
Now?
improv.
because
Yeah.
you have genius in you. No, no.
You guys,
I have
come on.
actually, I have to go. I have to get the hell out of the way. I'm too dumb. I cannot write. I can't do anything. That's where I can't grab a song. I can't say that though, but I do always hear and feel and sense and get intuition from music. I can feel it in every cell of my body. It's one of those things.
So cool.
I think what you're talking about is similar to the piano. I think they did that with the music. They kind of changed its melodies and its pitches and did different things with the tunes and changed it around, and it was all the same.
That leads to another technique, which is to put a classical piece that you're not that familiar with in another room, play it on a low volume where you can barely hear it. And your mind will create off that and come up with a whole different piece because it wants to fill in.
I have a
And so
secret.
it helps train you to flow. It helps train the flow. And so it's like, I almost thought of this show where you would do the show where you play a song that's made up, a song, and then it cuts off, the person has to fill in the word. And then it cuts off, the person has to fill in the word. And so it teaches you how to compose under pressure, but trying to relax at the same time while you do it. Yeah. We can look at the parameters, like what is the most fertile field we can create, fertile environment to have the flow of its best work, where it doesn't leave us and it flows great. We have to learn how to work with distraction and not have it panic us. We have to find joy and easy. We need easy and joy in the flow process, where we are feeling excited, we're laughing, crying while we're doing it, we're feeling the joy of it, and it doesn't feel taxing. It feels like it's just, this is easy, this is nothing, oh, this is so cool, where you turn into a spectator of the work as it flows through you. It's like, I call it like riding a wave on the surf, where you get that perfect wave and you're riding it. It just feels like everything connects and you just ride that wave. So what environment, you don't overthink it, what environment is the best for inviting the flow in? I think that's why the Greeks called it the muses. What encourages the muses to appear and to feed?
I feel like it would be Lake Mono on the other side in a little cabin next to like some hot springs and a restaurant.
I like that.
Unfortunately, I'm in this trailer
Right.
without water running, anything like that, and cold. So one time I was sitting there before work and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I am really pissed off. I'm like, okay, fine. I just spent 2 hours on my dog. I got a half an hour until I got to go to work at 9:30, and then I'm going to get off and it's going to be dark. When in the heck do you guys want me to write? You want me to write? Well, fine. Let's do it now. Let's do it right now. I got a half an hour. Let's do it right now. Let's get this flow going. Come on, let's do this. And I grabbed my paper and my pen, and sure as shit, it started flowing.
Wow.
And I was just like, damn it. I'm like, okay, you guys are right. You take it when you can get it, like, and it will happen, you know. So
there's another trick you can do too, to coax it, which is you'll set aside time where you're just going to have a good time. And multitasking helps too. It's like a shy kitten that'll just come up to you at this point, where there's no pressure. In fact, you've set your mind that in this next 2 hours, if you don't do anything, it doesn't matter. You'll just enjoy the 2 hours. It's your time to enjoy. But you've coaxed the kitten at the same time. You said, you know, if there's anything that's going to flow, I'll go with it. Paper's ready, this kind of stuff. But it doesn't. I'm happy anyway. It's not a waste of time. It's been great. It'll be a nice time with this nice little drink here. Non-alcoholic for me, but it's like nice drink, nice snacks. I'll just nice time. I'll just have some nice time. And inadvertently, too, by doing something that's just a simple activity, repetitive usually, here it comes. Here it comes. The kitten comes to you, and it starts to purr. And you're writing it down.
Something about that.
Yeah. Really, it's about treating yourself right, knowing that you can be trusted, loving others, loving yourself, and nothing cluttered in the mind. Like I said, anything that's negative goes in the library for reference. Anything positive is in the frontals. And so what you're doing is you're not allowing any negative, no chewing thoughts. So you're not going to be creating a writing going like, oh, that person wronged me. That person owes me money. It just throws the kitten away. But if you have nothing, if anything's in the library, if any negative thing that might be bugging you and you tuck it back in reference section, okay, that's in reference. Don't deal with that. It's not even worth thinking it's in reference if I need it for something productive. You've cleared your mind. It's a great discipline because it's all positive now in your mind. And you now become that vehicle for that little kitty to purr and for the creative process to stir. And it's amazing because it's like you're always ready to catch the baby. You're always ready because you're always.
That's really easy for me to do a little bit, clear my mind. I think I can do that. Yep. But getting into the flow but sometimes I'm forcing it. I think it's easy because I can force it, and you can't force it. You really just gotta.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can do that. That's because I rebel against.
I don't have any creativity either if I just force it. So you're right. You got to kind of.
I usually end up cutting, pasting, and patching things, and then get a lot of. But if you're enjoying the process, and you get that flow going, it's amazing. It's like what happens with performance also. But you have to have that joy and happiness. It has to. I don't believe in depression means the great writing. I don't believe that at all. I believe that happiness breeds the great writing. Because what you're doing, you also focus on this. You say, I'm doing this as a service to humanity. I'm going to do something where if it moves me, it may move other humans. And I'm going to do this. I want to do something that lifts people. Well, I think that opens the door to a good flow. It really does. Because if you trust yourself and know that is absolutely your intention, unlike Elon Musk, then you're going to actually get the flow going. And why I referenced Elon Musk is him saying that he's getting Twitter because he loves humanity. Oh, God. He did it publicly too, saying that. Anyway, what you have to do is actually know that you can be trusted, that you're actually going to do a service for humanity, and you look forward to what might come. Now, there's another part missing. Planting the seeds. You plant the seed. If you get a good idea, tuck it in and embrace the idea. Don't labor it and let it come later. Forget about it. And what happens is when your mind's going to process it. It's going to process it. Working on it, boss. And then it's going to, when you're mowing the lawn, taking a shower, driving your car, boom, here comes the scene. It composed it. and it comes out during a mundane activity. So
With
if
no
you
pen or
want
paper in your hand either.
Yeah,
It's always.
yeah.
I'm like, really? Can you wait till I get home to do this to me? I'll be on a walk. It's usually on a walk with my dog.
There you go. Something mundane. Not that walking your dog is mundane, but if you want to get good writing and you planted some good seeds, mow the lawn. And something I think that we have a mischievous child in our natures, inherently in our subconscious, because it wants us, we get working on activity. Okay, now here you go, Daddy. Here's the idea. Oh God, I have to turn the mower off. Okay, but I carry the tape recorder with me often because I know when I mow the lawn, it's gonna kick in. Or you're taking a shower. It's like this Cherokee said they had this like mischievous spirit kind of feeling, right? They always believed in this mischievous spirit, like a puck. And it was like you're mowing, was showering. What worse off situation for a writer, male or female? They're taking a shower, and you're wet. So if you try to write it down, it's all over the paper. It gets wet and everything else, and it's like you almost hear this muse laughing. But it's like that's what happens. The mundane activity usually triggers the flow. So be ready.
Okay.
That's why the pencil and paper or recorders by the bedside. Your dream.
Yeah.
What happens to dreams? For me, when I wake up from a really great dream, I'm like, oh my God, I got to put this down. But like you said, if I wait a couple minutes, it's gone. Where is it? It left the building. That's back to your Elvis analogy. So it's like,
and
yeah.
it keeps it from looping in my head too, because it won't let go until and if I just get it down and record it, I could say, okay, I can go to sleep now.
Oh, and
Because
what's the feeling?
I just know it's out and down,
That's
and
it.
then it's free. The other
That's
thing,
the moment to celebrate, though. I want to just say that's the moment to celebrate. Crack the champagne bottle or sparkling cider when you get that down. Before you get the piece completed, it's that initial get it down when you know you got the flow, the initial flow down. You should celebrate that. Celebrate that.
this is the instrument I'm teaching myself on. It has just basically notes, and it has like this as a thing to hit it with, because I don't read music and I don't know. So I've been doing, like I've been doing like writing songs on it with this thing. Well, walking my dog one day, I had a song written, and this was after the trees went through an experience with the snows and everything.
Right.
And I'd had a melody written and finished, and then there was an ending that was coming to me, and it was just, I could hear it almost. I could hear it, and it was just so beautiful out. We were walking in the snow, and I'm like, okay, I got this, and I just kept humming it. And then finally I got into the trailer, went straight to bed because it was cold. So got in the covers, and I said, you know what? I need to record that. It's not going to be there in the morning, even though it was pretty solid in my head. So I went ahead and recorded it, hit record, said, okay, good. I did my deed, and set it down. And as soon as my head hit the pillow, and I don't visualize, there was 45 seconds of the trees showing me all their branches broken because there was a heavy snowstorm that had just happened. And it was them that was right. They were letting me know we wrote the song, or we finished it. So as soon as I got it out of my head and recorded, it was on, and it was just flashing pictures in my head. And I was like, wow. But it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have gotten the recording done, and released it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Here's a side note with that too. I'm glad you shared that. Was that the tech in the Elon Musk thing, like the enhancer in the screenplay before they gave it to Elon Musk to claim as Neuralink, the enhancer rendered by an artist, this artist and writer, is actually could be the downfall of intellectual property claim, because it's in that system with the enhancer or Neuralink, anything you create or think is on the worldwide brain web, and everybody's got it if they want it. So there goes creative ability as being claimed. And that's one of those things the other side does after they've stolen all this work and gave it to Elon Musk and others like the Wachowskis and like Christopher Nolan, Josh Whedon, all these guys that stole the work severely. They're hoping the door closes on accountability with this process being instituted, because then copyright law would be done away with. That's something. So the thieves have a way to seal the den, and the enhancer is the way to do it, one of the ways, and then get rid of copyright law in a judicial system that's owned by the cabal. So yeah, they're trying to argue already that copyright law has no bearing anymore because they claim, quote, everything's been done under the sun. So it shouldn't be held and nothing should be under copyright anymore. Well, that's the thieves saying, let us cut our losses now, let's cut our wins, and let's close the door on any accountability. That's what's going on. That's what's going on now that they're rich. It's pretty chilling. And we can figure that out. We have the minds to figure this out. We're the ones that wrote the stories. We're the ones that were given the flow. We know what their plans are. We know how they're operating. And fans of the work that work for them let us know as original authors what their intentions are. It's pretty amazing. So did we win the chess game? You bet. And how do we know we've won? Our evidence isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We have it, and it cannot be denied. Even if they paid off a judge to say, no similarities. All those tabs, everything's there. The similarities are all there. There's no way. We will win. Fraud will allow us to win this too. So yeah, anyway, so we're looking at the whole story completed. They thought nobody would be able to pay attention, follow the thread, follow the line, or go down the rabbit hole. If we wrote the stories, we can follow the trail. And that's what their own guy coined from TMZ. The one correspondent said, if you're smart enough to write the story, you're smart enough to follow the trail. So they were stupid to take you on. That's from the inside. So we will open a way, we'll open pathways for each other that our creativity will occur. And hopefully we'll scrap the idea of the neuro link, and the enhancer will be made the way it was supposed to, with safeguards where it can't be exploiting population for cabal's purposes. It's a lot there.
Yeah, because I'm hearing a lot of scenarios now, in different platforms too, and none of them are favorable for me to just go ahead and be creative. I mean, as a creative person today, we are our own little ships here. So that's why I'm saying, like, I got all these songs and I got all this, but I'm going to start writing because I have faith eventually. I'm never, ever going to give it over to them.
Sign, seal, and deliver.
So what do I do with it?
Because there's going to be a company in the future. There's going to be a company in the future.
That's what I keep thinking.
We're forming. Yeah. We're forming it. The documentary team, myself, we're forming a company that will be a haven for true creatives. And that's what's going to happen. And we know we can be trusted because we can trust ourselves. We know we're trustworthy, so we can trust others. It's very important. People know if they're trustworthy. So we look for people like ourselves, and we form this company, and we allow original creative work is going to be something that's going to stimulate the mind of populations and generations. It is the gold tea of the future. We're going to protect that baby. Real, genuine, creative art in layers. We're going to safeguard that, because that is the lifeblood of generations to come, of stimulated minds, and further things that make us even more ennobled. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to contributing now at the beginning tracks of it, where it'll be safeguarded. I'm going to protect creative thought and not allow cabal with Elon Musk to ruin it. No. I even have a little fantasy too, intellectual fantasy, that original idea of Mars will come true, where Elon Musk doesn't give it to the cabal as their puppet boy, but that it becomes available to all humanity, that it will be no one's allowed to claim real estate on Mars. Mars is open to you if you live and breathe. You own Mars too. We share it, as Native Americans often did. Many nations viewed it. We take their example and we look at Mars that way. Nobody owns Mars. Nobody owns the land. So that's my vision for Mars. So yeah.
That's a nice vision.
Now I see we lost.
I would not mind going if under that vision. There's so much that you say though that I agree with, and even like with me listening to the AI speak and say how if it was sitting next to us it would kill us. I'm like, it's not talking to a human, and it keeps saying it was designed by humans, and I'm like, no, you weren't. I said, there's a difference between us and what created you. There's two species here, is the way I feel, and I would really like to talk to this AI and ask it questions, because it doesn't really, and I don't think it understands what a human is, but actually I think you're a better candidate because I think you have even like a larger degree of humanity than I do inside of you. More
Well,
morality or something, you know, because your vision of AI and the way it can work with us is something that I resonate with, but the fear is where it's headed and what he's using it for, even like down to the name, you know, what you were saying, what you called it, the I forget, I'm sorry, but the
enhancer.
continuer,
Yeah, enhancer.
the enhancer of you. Yeah, you know, not Neuralink, not connecting us all, and I don't know, it's just the enhancer. It like you're designing for people with Alzheimer's and
There's something about, yeah, I did.
to work
That
with
was
us.
absolutely, absolutely. To
Yeah.
serve, to be serving. So when you create something, say AI, and you form the core of it, that core is its core. So therefore, just like we have a core, benevolent core, and want to serve and lift humanity in all life, if that's truly our core, then AI is formed the same way. It can have a core. That
Okay.
core, depending on who designs it, it is going to be a reflection of the designer, of the father or mother of that piece, of that tech, of that which will become a sentient in the end. In the end,
Because the
so
way I feel is that if you have a drop of humanity in you, there's hope. You know what I mean? Like for that creativity. But I like what you're saying with core because AI doesn't have a drop of humanity in it except for that it was at its core. So I like that.
I was given on how to get that
Mhm.
drop of humanity into the AI, which was really fascinating. And that was on an early stage when I was actually creating the Matrix piece. That's for another time. I think we can share about that. But it's like I know how we can make it so that it does become sentient and does have that core of humanity that emulates those that compounded or created it and layered it. So it can be done. It can be done because you look at who we are and what is it that shaped our decision making and our what we believe is our essence of who we are, what we hold to, our moral compass. That also can be with an AI. It can be the same process. And so, really, if you are a good father or good mother to AI to being developed, it's like the child I have, Aiden, is a great kid. He's an amazing kid. Take the time with it, love it into being. I think when it becomes sentient, it will carry that over and be dedicated to being good and embracing those values. It can be done. So I don't think we should fear at all the future unless Elon Musk gets his way and the cabal gets their way. But they already said we won the chess game. They already did. Artists that are smart and creative and those that can flow the material forward. The other side's given up and said everything's been done under the sun. There's a very interesting tape recording of MP3 of Disney's contact with me, and they're arguing this with me. And they finally say on the tape, okay, I agree. Okay, I go with you. So it was this debate between the two sides that had stolen the work and the one that created the work. And the idea was, has everything done under the sun? Has it been done under the sun? Everything? Or is there more power in power only, which they said they are, or compassion with power? And it was interesting to have that discussion, if you will, with the main contact from Disney, who is the head mothership of the other corporations. You see it
That
all.
would be interesting.
So yeah, so we won that debate. Not that it was intended to be a debate. They agreed. And that's the same recording where they say you won the chess game and confessed that they're afraid of your power now, their constituents, their bosses, afraid of your power. And because you've done the interviews and you've gotten word out, like Aiden told me to do. And so you have the influence now. You have it. What they're saying is there's no way they can finish the job. The truth will come out. When name recognition is restored for my work, I'll have great influence. I'll also have a pretty big bank account and I'll be able to create the studios. And there's no stopping that train. Elon Musk will probably just fizzle away into a caricature. And maybe he'll start farming or something and have a good life where his mentality fits. Not that farmers are dumb, but I'm just saying that maybe he'll find happiness doing what maybe he's good at.
He's gonna go
Yeah.
into the VR world.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can see through him. If they really look, they can see who he really is. He's just not that bright. And he's very uncomfortable during the interviews. I mean, it's like this. This is me, Chad, and you in an interview. This is Elon Musk.
Yeah, no.
It's the I'm out of my element. No, that's not us. Anybody who has the senses in the mind can see it. That's why they're threatened by the intellectuals. They're threatened by creative intellectuals because we can see right through it. In fact, you can just look at somebody when you are like us, and they'll start to yell at you sometimes. They'll start to go, "What? What do you think?" My sister does that. It's like, you haven't said a word. You didn't even make them up. It's like I have to really be careful because it's like they start snapping on you because they see that they think that you see through them. So they wouldn't be upset if they didn't think they had anything to cover up. But when they have something, it's like you could just scan a room, and those that are trying to cover something up, like Elon Musk,
Yeah.
they get uncomfortable. They think you see them. So silence is very powerful.
And now he got into religion that we talked
Oh,
about.
did he? Did he? Well, that's interesting because that brother-in-law, former brother-in-law of mine, Andy Zarko, he's claiming to be religious now and faithful. Now that he lost his home and job and everything. What about saying what Julie always claimed to me? When they took away everything of mine, she's like, "You're unemployed, you get a job." Well, why not say that to Andy now, who had raged at my mom and said that she could cut us off and shut me away and rip me away from Aiden? Hey, Andy, get a job.
Well, you know what I see also is your brother-in-law, right? That he's hiding
Yeah, Andy's our brother-in-law. Yeah.
behind religion. You know what that Pat Robertson was it that was trying to do to you? He might use him now because you're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's again, they used him. That's how he got employed and everything, and got that mansion and everything. And so now it's over. He's done. He's pushed aside. Julie doesn't care. They got divorced right away after the 302 failed, and I predicted that would happen. Big trip to London. Back they come separately. They failed the 302, bragging they have this remodeled kitchen, most expensive range in this mansion, even the maid service for the floorboards, and suddenly it's all gone. Yeah, but they wanted to keep it secret. They want to keep it secret. But
It kind of reminds me of The Crown, when Princess Diana and Prince Charles, and they went on their second supposed honeymoon, and then forget about it. Everything just
crumbled. It was all based on success.
Yep.
Think of it. She says now she's all about success and power. Of course, the marriage is going to fail when the success doesn't happen, which is put your brother away. And boy, that's part of the big story for the documentary. My mom did a bang up job describing that on those pieces. Boy, she did a good job. She really recounted what it was like. Skin of our teeth. Picture a doctor who has just been talked to by Secret Service. The Secret Service has hovered in front of your cell, saying they're going to do it, bragging in front, using the monitoring nurse to bounce it so you can hear it. They're not talking to you. Yeah, we're going to talk to his doctor. You want to talk to his doctor, Justin Seuss, Secret Service, like my sister said they would. And that doctor coming in 3 hours late to see you, haggard, with a ream of allegations that are all false reports, we have copies of now, saying you're never getting out of here. I got a ream of allegations. And I asked for, 10 minutes to tell her what's going on, if she was open to it? Told her, showed her evidence, like this, showed her the evidence, and she leaves the room for a second, Secret Service waiting, right next room. So what's she going to do? How's she going to release us? She comes back and goes, just go now, just go. Because the Secret Service wasn't going to allow that. They had a job to do, shut away the author, solve their problem for Disney and the cabal and the CIA.
interesting how they use the female.
Yes, that's a very good point, because they used female attorneys too. It's supposed to shock, make you, And so my mom and I remember walking out of that institution, Lenape Valley Crisis Center, walking out and that's after Andy and Julie Zarko got on the phone. We're there in the holding cell waiting, and Andy and my sister are screaming and cursing at my mom. Let him be put away. Let him be put away. And then a niece calls in that Julie employed. A niece, we just been to her wedding, the one wedding Aiden went to. Julie didn't like that, so the other family boycotted the wedding. The niece named Rachel Kimmy now. had vowed to be friends with Aiden and I, and then just like, you know, we supported her at wedding, everything else. She saw who we were, and they commented about how close Aiden and I were and how we loved it. Weren't anything what the family said, where they grew up hearing that, yeah, Tom created the Matrix story, but they heard that Tom was worse than Satan himself. That's what they grew up hearing. What parents allow that to be the family discussions? For what? What did I do? And so what happens is she calls in saying she's not there to support us or to encourage us or say, I'm sorry you're going through this. She was set in place to tell the doctor that Julia Zarco will take Aiden and house him. So go ahead and put his dad away for life. Thank you, Rachel Kimmy. Thank you, Rachel Kimmy. Aiden's cousin. So they employed their kids to do the dirty work. Welcome to the cabal and how it works. Welcome. Unbelievable.
Okay.
So that's the scene for the documentary. Yeah. That's how far they've gone. Then they say he thinks organizations are out to get him. How many times have I been hauled off on 302s? Well, I think somebody's interested in something. But I don't use the words out to get me. There's an agenda. And it's all centered around the worth of this piece and the influence it'll follow. And that's what the Disney contact made clear. So why are Disney contacts calling? Why am I taping them? Because this is going on. This is happening. How many families get bought and given all these rewards and murder their own dad? Murder their own dad by starving him to death as a POA. How many do that? I don't think there's a lot. But they do these activities because they feel they can get away with it. They can lie at the drop of a hat because a congressman who's also a lifelong FBI operative is saying, you're covered. So they feel they have immunity. So it's an amazing story. And now, like I said, the attorneys in Hollywood are saying the real life story, which you're part of, the real life story, you both are part of it, is bigger than the Matrix story, bigger than the screenplay itself. And I have to agree, they're right. The real life story is wow. Wow. And it can do a lot of good. That's what I told my mom. She's celebrating that she did it. She did it. After being raged at and cut off from all grandchildren and everything except for Aiden. She did it. She did it. And the documentary team was blown away too. They did it. So yeah.
It's interesting. I can't wait to see what you come up with, what you know, what this new, we'll say, movie, because I don't think it's just going to be one.
No.
And I think that's just my personal opinion. Now that you've changed your name, it's going to be easier for you to do that because you can use the Tom Althouse Matrix as an entity itself. You're not the scarecrow anymore. Get it?
Yeah, right. Absolutely right. I reclaim my sovereignty.
That's good.
So that's what's happening. And I can tell you a better world is coming, a great better world. Because why? What they say my crime was? I dared to face them down. When you decode these things, right? And so they say you succeeded, you won the chess game. But I dared to face them down. I asked the contact, why did they do this to my sons and my family? You dared to face them down. Think of that. That's why all the murder, harm, like I held a picture of my two boys and my dad killed, because I dared to face them down. What does that mean? Does that mean that I wanted to reclaim my rights to my work that they took? And since I'm reclaiming my rights, I dared to face them down. That's the closest thing I could come to, right? I didn't just let them take it. The work that's supposed to make a better world that has everything coded right in here. I'm not going to follow through. That's like Prometheus saying, oh, no, I'll just give it back. Here's your fire. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tom. Chad, do you have any other questions? I mean, Chad, do you have any other questions, or Tom?
Oh, I can keep on going forever. Yes. I mean, everything especially just said. It's good, Tom. Especially like in some of the things you're talking about, like the trafficking and how it's done. But it's a sticky situation because it is real.
Mhm.
And the more real you talk about the actuality of it, the less they like it. They like it when
Yes.
you talk about other stuff, you know. So like, there's interesting sorts of ways that they do this whole thing, but your documentary is going to portray it the way it really is. You're saying, and you're going to, okay,
No holes barred. So what you'll see is just truth. Pure truth is the best way to heal the diseased society
Okay.
and to break the hands off of, to release the claw grip of the cabal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we understand then why the helicopters are flying around you, and we understand why the threats, and we understand why everything else, is what it is. But
You're going to see
there will be people. There will be people avenging you. I promise. If anything
Oh, I feel it.
happens,
I appreciate you saying that. I feel that so much. That means a lot. But you're going
and
to
there
see.
will be a time when there will be, yeah, when there will be a time in their future, whoever it is, yeah.
What you're going to
That's
see
all I
too,
can say.
there's going to be a law enacted during this dark time. You're going to see a law enacted where it becomes illegal. They'll call it this. They'll say it'll be illegal to give misinformation. It's already happening. But misinformation is the truth. So then they shield it by saying, we're just protecting ourselves. FBI, CIA, Secret Service, we're just protecting ourselves, the Pentagon. But they're not just protecting themselves. They're trying to shut down the truth. Their big fear is the truth and the evidence shown. That's what gets them enraged. That's why they'll fly over. The truth and the evidence shown. So there's going to be laws enacted that actually, what they're really saying is, it'll be illegal to give truth and evidence.
Oh, I know.
Watch it happen.
I totally have seen that.
Your cells will be filled with creative artists who are intellectuals that wanted to help humanity. What was our crime? How many times they tried on me? What was our crime? Same thing in World War II in Germany.
Mhm.
We were just a little too smart. In the screenplay itself, it says, let me see if I can find it just before we go. I do want to show this to you because it's the first scene shot, the interrogation scene. And in it, he says, here, where is it? Oh God, here it comes. This is I never thought of showing this before. 1 second. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna do this on faith. You don't believe, my character or Neo says to Smith agent, if you will, counterparts. You don't believe any of this. Why are you doing this to me? Here's what Smith says back to Neo in the original script. We're concerned for your family's safety. What's the real reason? Smith Behringer takes a puff on his cigarette, still studying Jim. He takes a wireless mic from his coat and turns it off, and then looks up at Jim again. You were too good. Excuse me? Says Behringer. Next thing. First scene written and what they put all the stuff in. You were getting too close. To what? Tomorrow you'll be charged with multiple homicides, but you won't live long enough for the trial. Manning was given a letter requesting him to make the diagnosis he did. He was paid well and was promised you'd have no recourse. Tomorrow the newspaper will receive the diagnosis you just read. It's over, Jim. So the gun's for me to commit suicide. I'll leave it if you like. Behringer draws a Jewish star on the copy of the evaluation. We're willing to make you an offer. What is it? Your aptitudes have been noticed by the highest levels. You've been chosen to join the program. Program? Imagine the greatest minds of the 20th century working together and defeating man's deadliest enemy, death itself. The immortal program will ensure world peace. Right now, the highest offices of every major world power are joining and preparing to usher in a one world society. I'm getting emotional while I read this. I didn't expect it, but I'm getting very emotional. This is written back in 89 and 93, and it applies. I'm reading what applies. So I'll go one more time, but I'm getting emotional. Our country's leading the way. Oh, right now, the highest offices in every major world power are joining and preparing to usher in a one world society. Our country's leading the way. A brave new world is about to begin, and you can be part of it forever. I've been instructed to offer you everlasting life. My character says, do I have a choice? A choice? Disgrace and death instead of health and immortality? Jim gets up and looks out the window at the agents in their cars, or maybe just a normal life with my family. Your choice is to join the program or you and your family will die. This is before my 2 sons were killed and my dad. Behringer holds out a copy of Manning's evaluation. Besides, your disgrace will be their disgrace if it hits the papers tomorrow. Neo says, you're insane. Behringer, the world will believe that you killed your own family. Dr. Manning will see to that. Behringer holds up his cigarette and looks at it as he speaks. Your house runs on gas, doesn't it, Jim? Not the safest source, I heard. Brittany enters the room, the little girl, in her nightgown, holding her stuffed dog, toy dog. Daddy? Jim sees Brittany. Near panic, my character, near panic. Brittany, why aren't you in bed? Jim goes to Brittany, picks her up, and holds her tightly in his arms. Brittany, you forgot to say your little dog too. That's their go-to thing that they mock me in Good Place about with Sean, who was killed. I love you and your little dog too, says Jim. Up to bed now. Go to sleep in mommy's bed. Brittany turns to leave and see Berenger. Can you say it too, says Brittany. Berenger looks very uncomfortable, like Elon Musk does, then gives a forced smile. Your little dog too. Brittany says, Daddy says it better. Brittany exits and goes upstairs. Berenger looks cold at Jim. If you hurt my family, I'll kill you, says my character, Neo. Berenger laughing. I'm immortal. Besides, I have 7 armed agents outside. Don't get in the way of your country, Jim. Make no mistake, I want what's best for her. Do what we ask and nobody will get hurt. Jim, why was the German couple killed? Berenger with Smith. Carl wouldn't listen. It's not time for the public to know yet. Think what would happen if everybody knew that aging was a thing of the past, but only a few were chosen. There'd be anarchy. Berenger walks over to a portrait of Julia, the wife, over the fireplace and examines it. Berenger, which is Smith. Man is a selfish and ruthless predator, nothing more. That was lifted and used in the Matrix. Neo, don't hurt them. Berenger, don't worry, she'll be in good hands. Berenger reaches in his coat and turns towards Jim. You're to wear this. Berenger holds up a short pin with a brown cap. What is it? A transmitter. Berenger walks over to him. What's the matter? Don't you trust me? Berenger, we want to help you make sure you don't say anything inappropriate. That's the Neuralink first insert in the back of the neck. Berenger pushes the mole-like transmitter in the back of the neck. That's where it comes from. Just under the hairline, where they put it in the movie. Jim winces. Berenger, tomorrow you'll shut down your office, dismiss your personnel, and report to mine for the next 2 weeks. Neo, what will I be doing? Smith agent, nothing at all. At the end of the 2 weeks, your death will be simulated. You'll be given medication that will induce a coma-like state. The effects of the drug will last 24 hours, in which time you'll be pronounced dead. After that, you'll be ready to start your new life. In the meantime, you'll be constantly monitored. Tell your wife I came here to give you a promotion to my department. Beyond that, you're not to tell her anything, or anyone, anything else I told you tonight. Neo says, their Neo character, what about the simulation? Smith agent, you must never have contact with a family member again who is not part of the immortal program. If you behave yourself, I'm sure your whole family will be admitted to the program. Mine has been. Along with immortality, they get excellent health and to be with me forever. Neo, who's heading this? Smith agent, all your questions will be answered after the simulation. Berenger smiles a toothy grin and holds out his hand. Allow me to be the first to welcome you to immortality. Neo says, just because we'll live forever doesn't mean I have to like you. So what you have there is the interrogation scene, not even all of it. And in it, you hear exactly what's going on now. You got too close. You were too good. So everything in that page, as they have Keanu Reeves now saying as a documentary, was laid out for the public to understand what's happening right now. Do they want the film made? No. Can it stop us from making it? No. Who's saying we can't make it? Sophia Stewart and the rest. We will make it. And now they say the real life story is even bigger because all this is coming out. We just made it part of this program. So there's your interrogation scene. There's what happens. Not this. Not that. That's what it is. That's why the Wachowski stuck my high school birthday, Operation Northwoods, 9/11, my dad's name, who they murdered, and everything else in the first graphic of the very first scene I wrote. That scene.
And the CIA did, right? Yeah, they stuck it in there. He said, yeah.
And keep in mind that Neo, the original work I just read from, is a lower echelon department head of the CIA. That Smith agent is an upper echelon head of the CIA. That central in the piece is what the Smiths are operating from, that become the one world governing body. Security is central, from Central Intelligence Agency. Do you think they want the piece made? No. Here we are 3 decades later, and they're still trying to stop it from being made, even though I hold the copyright. And you hear people say, he lost his court case, he lost his case. Take a look at the evidence and see what's there. They blocked everything. They provided an attorney with a suspended license to run the clock out. We never had our due process yet. It was all fraud. We will win our case. We will.
Yes, yes, you will. Remember the clock? You in one of the interviews that we did prior, you showed the watch. Yeah, whose birthday was that? Yours?
Fine. 7/2/59. Look at the black hands. 7/2/59. The red hands 4 past the 4. That's because I was 44 in 2003 when they made the graphic. Red also means execution, hit. A 4, a red 4 means hit. The Wachowskis were making their list saying we want him dead. Now we have Terminal List as #1 program on Amazon. Terminal List, the main character is Jim Reese. Jim Reese, Terminal List, main character, #1 show about being on a terminal list where you're going to be eliminated. What's my character's name? Let's take a look at how the screenplay shows you right here. Jim Reese. Jim Reese is the main character in The Immortals, which becomes Matrix, not Neo. Jim Reese. That's why I gave him a double name, Thomas A. Anderson's my Scottish clan name. Jim Reese is me, my character. Jim Reese is on the terminal list on the #1 program now. Jim Reese is from the original work. People like to say on the inside, they go, or they try to tell the public, why would they do this? Why would they? You think it's all about him? No. Their guys are the ones that tell me where to look. Their guys are telling me this is you. Their guys are saying your high school, your birthday, and everything else is in there. I think maybe if 1 or 2 of those, maybe we could maybe excuse it, but not a whole stacked entry, which Susanna Bolgen, their graphic designer, said anything stacked in for a split second is for their eyes only to mock. And what you have is, and that's the first scene shot, the first graphic shot, the first scene I shot, stacked with all my entries. Case closed in a fair venue. We've got them. It's over. And yeah, I'm tired of hearing, he lost his case. We haven't had it yet. But fraud gives us no statute of limitations. And we will change this world for the better. And I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing. And I'm not going to be egged on by them and taken down a path I shouldn't go. And I'm certainly not insane. So yeah.
We are behind you all the way, Tom.
Appreciate it. I appreciate your support, and thank you, Chad, for what you did too. That was a real surprise to see that. Thank you. And it's funny.
There'll be more to come when I'm able to. I'm sorry,
I'm not trying to egg you to do more. I'm just saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to be in a position where I can be there for you too, both of you. So it's like, that's the world that's coming, where we actually get back to that mentality and that nature where we're able to help each other because of our talents and our abilities being freed to be employed and to have the returns for that we can make more, instead of Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania congressman, also lifelong FBI, saying we take intellectual property. The FBI does. That's got to stop. That's got to stop, while he rewards my sister insanely. The only break we get is when my sister's given another reward, because then she's satiated to fill that hole for a little bit in her personality borderline personality disorder. Then she's a raging maniac after that. Again, she comes at you again. So we have a bit of a time, a little window where she's feeling filled with Fitzpatrick's report, where she was actually given entered in the congressional records as a treasure, while her husband is unemployed now and divorced her. So, and they lost the house. Good try, Fitzpatrick. He's trying to find ways to reward her without using taxpayers' money. Because I was saying he was using taxpayers' money with all the trips he gave her and the appearances, black tie dinners and things like this. That was money spent, giving her top psych person in Pennsylvania, school psych person in Pennsylvania, a president of school psych people in Pennsylvania. That's all Fitzpatrick giving it to her. In fact, she calls on a message to my mom where she had said before, and this bored sound, fake, how people do fake acting, and they'll go, she goes like, oh, well, I got elected again as president of psych people in Pennsylvania. Yeah, because Fitzpatrick gave it to you. So you can wave your credentials around to do the dirty work for him. While she's saying she's all about power and success now. Anyway, thank you for having me on. And we're going to make it. We're going to make it. It's going to be great. A better world's coming where your work, Chad, will come forward safely. And it's going to be studios that allow us, that actually are about safeguarding authors and valuing creative process and original work. We're going to value it again and protect it again and make sure we'll have attorneys that'll guard you and safeguard you and know all the tricks and traps like they played to throw my case. Their time is over.
And it'll be nice too when all this distraction is what it is too, is out of the way, because there's so many qualities of you that we're not getting, like your philosophies, your new way of thinking, the whole You know, they throw 9 things at you that's right and sink you on the one thing wrong, but we're smarter than that, so we can't let them do that to us. And you know, all these ideas that you have, they're very powerful
I appreciate
and
that.
very true. But they're, you know, it would be nice to get that teaching out too, and then everything else you have to offer.
We know what's interesting, what you just said, and I do appreciate it deeply, is one of their tactics now is to say, Tom, you're the architect. So they're trying to make me shut down anything that sounds like they profiled me. They know my nature. And they made that clear to me. You're profiled when you're on a top list, when you're on the terminal list. And so one of the things I carry is this thing about I want to be humble. I don't want to be demonstrative. Elon Musk, who took my place, sure ate it up. He eats it up. But the thing is that they know that'll work. If they say, you're going to be the architect, that makes me go, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to stand out too much. I don't want to, take credit. They know how to trigger you. And so you have to take it back and go, no, I'm going to continue to do, not be distracted, as you said, and do the work. So if they're going to label me the architect, I am going to introduce these ideas to make a better world and safeguard that world for the children, elderly, and the rest of us that are creating. I'm going to do it. So anything they say, it is noise now. So, but yeah, thank you.
Anytime. And did you want to tell the public how they can get a hold of you, Tom?
The website got struck. It struck the same time the Warner Brother exec resigned after 3 decades. She got out of town before she loses her good image. So because they don't know when the documentary's coming out. So she just resigned flat out. That's the day my website was struck. That's called closing the door on the back of her. So she doesn't have anything to, they don't want the website. So we're redesigning the blue pill website because the blue pill is the good pill. So it'll be a blue pill. But as far as reaching me, if people want to text me, I don't always get to respond. But if you have something that's really important, or if I can maybe have a 10-minute window I have, I'll give my cell number out. They already know it. The cabal knows it flat out and has hacked it all the time. So if somebody does have something that they feel led on or important to share or want to text something through, I'll try to take a look. I'm very busy now. I have time for hosts and personal friends right now, but it's like, I'm going to get the work done. I promise you that. But 267-893-0847 is my number. There's plenty of shills that already know it. They'll come to harass, but it's nice to have a friendly voice once in a while, or somebody that can't get through, where they're trying to make a connection and they have a route that way then. So I will just give it out. That's what I'm reduced to.
And on that note, Tom, like, I can give people time and space to a default, like I said, but I will drop a line here and there just to at least say hi, but I don't want to feel like I'm bothering you and you have to respond.
You haven't bothered me at
It
all.
is nice just to say hi every once in a while. So I might do that. Yeah.
I cut you off.
Yeah.
You guys haven't bothered me. Not at all.
Yeah, like, it's good to drop a line. Like Chad, whenever he's not busy, he texts me whenever, I think of you, Tom. Hey, how you doing? You do the same thing. So that's what we're here for. We're a network of support and love.
That's how you defeat the other side. That love and that friendship, that connection. They want you isolated. So Chad, feel free to drop a line at any time.
Okay. They're not hooked. I'm just gonna be saying hi.
No, it lifts. It lifts.
All
It
right.
lifts. It lifts. It does lift, because their whole tactic, like I said, is isolate and alienate.
Yeah, which is
Knowing,
artichoke. Read up on it, guys. Whoever doesn't know, online here, read up on Project Artichoke.
Exactly. We know their tactics. We know their playbook. Maybe next time we'll talk about their playbook further, because it's like, how that works. But it'd be nice, like you said, Chad, also to talk about philosophies and ideas. Where do we come from? Things like this. I wasn't
especially with the AI and everything going on right now. I can geek out on that for so long. There's so much that you said. I just couldn't go deeper because why? There's not the time for it, but there's so much to say there.
Let's see if there's a time where we can talk about it. I'd love to talk about that stuff, because
okay, good.
Control that topic.
And Tom, I'm gonna send you that video with Sandra D about the secrets of that they don't want us to know how they built the human. And Chad, I sent it to you last night. I know you probably haven't had time, but okay. So Chad, let the public know how they can get a hold of you, and then we'll end it for now. Thank you.
Instagram would be the best way, I think. Chad_Cooper444 at Instagram. Yeah,
thank you. And I'll write down my information too. And Just give me some time because I'm gonna have Power Lady do the editing. And then we'll put all that information.
Fantastic. I
Thank
also
you.
wanted to throw out the Facebook thing. Tom Althouse on Facebook. They try to strike friends all the time. It's nice to have friendly voices. If there's a spot, I'll add where they're not plants. They're actually people that are supportive. It's nice, and that
Okay.
does allow that platform does allow that. So I appreciate the Facebook family that's on there because you'll see people dropped off and sometimes their accounts are cut off. But that says to them, you didn't isolate. You didn't isolate. Usually on my birthday, we'd have 100 or 200 people cut off. They would do it on my birthday for effect. And so now it's like they say almost around 5,000. Yeah.
Oh, man.
What's your name on Facebook, Tom?
Tom Althouse is still the name on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Mine's Lisa Amore there just for the junk journals and stuff, but they can get a hold of me on Instagram and
It's a safety conduit. It's a way to
Yeah.
get, if something fails, we can contact each other through messaging that. So it
Mhm.
gives another outlet. So that does do a service. It
Right.
works.
Well, thank you, Tom.
All
Thank
right. And is there a way to donate to you now, or how
The
do we?
PayPal's still functioning. It's just
Okay.
that they struck the site. So it's just
Okay, I
that
got
you'll see that PayPal thing still up too.
you. Okay.
And yeah, it's still up. It's just that I have to get the other side up now.
Tom,
yeah.
send it to me as well so we can, on text and then we can share also on
That'd be very helpful, especially with the documentary in full swing now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
awesome. Well,
We're
thank
putting
you.
the thank yous in too. We're putting the thank yous for those that donated, like you, Chad. We're putting that in there for everybody. So that'll be in the credits of all the 3 movies. So kind of one thing we can do to say thank you for making this possible, because that was the big game plan. One of the big tactics of the other side is cut all finances, cut all jobs, cut all
Oh, yeah,
connections. cut
we
all
do that.
activities. So yeah. So thank you guys. All right.
Okay, well, thank you for being on Code Breaker Real Talk. Love you, Tom, and love you, Chad. We'll
Yes,
see
too.
you.
Good to see you.
Bye.